All right, this video is for trumpets. There's not a lot to talk about for trumpets. Trumpet's a pretty easy instrument. Not to learn to play or actually sound good on. I'm just talking about taking care of it and setting your child up for success. There's not things that we have to worry about switching out when we get to middle school. A few students will reach the point where they're ready for a new mouthpiece, but that's a case-by-case basis. And usually doesn't happen until they're a little bit older, so sixth graders don't really need to worry about it. Seventh graders really don't need to worry about it. It depends on how quickly they progress, and I would reach out to you individually if that were to happen and we wanted to talk about upgrading their mouthpiece. But for now, as long as they are playing on a normal size mouthpiece like a Box 7C or something equivalent, then they will be just fine. The one thing I did want to mention to you that happens very frequently that I have to worry about when students come to the middle school is some maintenance issues with their instrument. So I have a trumpet here. I wanted to show you something. So this is my trumpet, and the two problems that tend to occur most frequently both have to do with slides on the trumpet. So you're probably aware of the valves, these guys, and I'm sure in elementary school they taught them how to oil them properly, and we review that here as well. So the students know all about oiling them and how to take care of that. You may need to buy your student more oil. I seem to recall this week even noticing a lot of kids either having to borrow mine or they're almost out of their oil, so you might have to order, but that's super cheap, like $2 for a bottle that'll last the whole year. So valve oil might have to be purchased, but the one thing that tends to occur a lot are the slides, which would be this guy and this guy. Those things are supposed to move on a trumpet, and sometimes kids never move them, so then they get stuck. So for this one, look, see, this should be able to slide. Like one finger moves it and it goes all the way in, and I can even take it all the way out if I have to. So slides should be able to move. If it can't, then it needs repaired. And the same goes for the little slide, this guy right here. This slide in particular tends to be frozen when they come to middle school because they don't use it in elementary school like they're supposed to. So it's one of those things where they can technically play the note without that slide, but they shouldn't. They should be using that slide every time they play the note D specifically. So whenever they put their 1 and 3 down, they should be using this ring finger right here to move this slide. So if they can't move this slide like that with moving my finger, nice and easy, it takes no effort at all on my trumpet to move that, then it's stuck. Even if it moves, like they pull on it really hard and it moves, that's not really good enough. So if your child's third valve slide is stuck, or they come home and say, Mr. Carey said my third valve slide is stuck, it needs to go into a shop at some point and get fixed. Good news is it's usually a pretty cheap repair. It doesn't take a whole lot to get it unstuck and get it oiled up so that it functions, but it needs to happen at some point because it affects the way they sound on those low notes, the low D and the low C sharp, which we use all the time. And the older they get, especially in 7th and 8th grade, it really matters that they can play those notes correctly. So at some point in the near future, your trumpet child, you should check in with them and ask them about their slides, because we will go over that probably throughout this week. We'll review it again. And if it's not working, make an appointment with your local repairman to have it looked at and fixed so that they can sound their best on their instrument. I will be happy to share recommendations for repairmen if you don't know one. If you bought your instrument or it's a family instrument, you've never been to a repair store, I can recommend where to go. We have people that do repairs for school instruments all the time, and they're great, and they'd be happy to fix your child's instrument. So other than that, there's not much to do with trumpets. We do teach the kids at some point during the year how to give their trumpets a bath, which can be done. It helps with the whole sticky slide situation. Once you get it unstuck, if you continually give your child your trumpet baths, it helps keep it clean. So if your child ever comes home and says, we learned how to give our trumpet a bath and I want to give my trumpet a bath, that's normal. It sounds weird, but it's normal. So that'll happen at some point in the fall. Probably we'll teach them how to do that so they can give them a bath. Usually about once a month is a good idea. So be prepared for that. All right, that's it.